Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, bearers of the light of God, the bearers of the truth, witnesses to truth. Our function to bear witness to what's true, and the ego would bear witness to what's false identity. And I was reflecting with Jesus this morning. We start early in the mornings and start with show me Jesus morning. And it's really quite amazing because I would not have called the K character, would not have said I'm a morning person. It's hard to explain how helpful it is. You know, it sound really ridiculous, but you just say yes to Jesus and then to have him show me. And a number of you are sharing these experiences, reflecting beautifully the experience of show me how this is a desire. And the desire to suppress light, actually suppress the recognition of light. We can ask the light that. Is the ego a desire to suppress the recognition of light? To suppress that we're denying that we're light. Suppressing the desire to be something, an experience other than infinite, unchanging light. We can ask the light that. That's definitely why we need the light's help, because we don't even see that we're suppressing, have a desired experience to suppress the recognition of light, what's already here. We can see the light's here. Is there anything other than light in our direct experience? So to release these energies, see the energy of desire and just let Jesus show it to you fully, let it be revealed into the wholeness, because before, where it's hidden and pushed down, then it's like that whack-a-mole thing that I talked about, where the moles just keep popping up. Like, why am I having this experience? You know, why is this happening? Because we forget that it's a desire for it to happen and then pretend like we don't know. We can ask the light, do we have a desire for an experience where we pretend we don't know why everything's happening? In the middle of it doesn't feel so funny. You just want to kill God right then, which is part of it. We can ask the light, do we desire an experience where we hide from you? We hide from ourselves. And the light being the same, is there an other in the light of divine being? Can we find one? So who are we hiding from? Can we hide from God? Or can we pretend like we're hiding from ourselves because we're synonymous with God? We're synonymous with the one who knows. That's why it's really insane. Would that be insane? To be light and try to hide from light when you're already light, like you've been tagged? It's like a kid. You didn't get me. No, you didn't. You have to tag me again. That's what we're telling. We're trying to say to God, I'm going to run around the schoolyard a little bit while longer and tell you that you haven't tagged me. I'm already it. I'm already light. Even when we're already it. You're it. No, I'm not. You're already in the, Jesus is trying to tell us, you're already in the lap of, no, I'm not. I'm not sitting in the lap of God. That's the play. Oh my gosh, all this stuff is happening to me. In the light of divine being, is this all happening, or is it desired experience? And here the light says, wanting to create the characters. Jesus is really showing me all the wanting of characters, creating little characters outside myself, and the desire for sin. We can ask the light, is there a desire to experience sin? That we've sinned. Yet need we experience sin? Or choice? That was another one. That was a great conversation we joined yesterday, Marguerite and I. You know, these joinings are so helpful for all of us to see that desire for sin and choice. Choice is sin. Because it's immediately two, and we're going to feel guilty when we're two. Guilt is the signal that we're denying the light, saying, nope, give it the boot. I don't want to be light. I want this fantasy, the desire for fantasy over light. Do we desire fantasy? Let's ask the light. Do I have a desire for experience of fantasy over light? A world of form over the infinite light of being. So we just look every day in the lessons, starting as infinite light of being. Start where the power is. Start with truth. We start with truth. Begin with truth. Not truth in ideas, truth of who we are, light. Or are we light in our direct experience? Sometimes we have to ask the light to tell us because we're so busy denying it. We'll say, are we light? And we'll go, but I don't feel like light. So we start to discern which voice is saying, I don't feel like light. So just recognize that what's actually noticing the saying of, I don't feel like light. Is light saying it? See, we do the light test. That's what we were talking about yesterday. So we have a gas leak in the kitchen. It's been very interesting to see all the desired experience for the gas leak in the kitchen. And well, we don't know where the gas leaks. So we ordered from the US a little gas meter. And it has a little detector on the end, and you set it at the lowest level. So the little red light comes on. When you get near gas, it starts making and it goes up. It's sort of like the sniff test for gas. That's what the Holy Spirit's teaching us to do the sniff test. So that little light goes on when we're in denial of divinity. So it's like a sniff test for denial of divinity. I love that. It keeps coming to mind. It's coming again. I must need to hear it. Here it comes again with Jesus saying in Ur text, I remember reading this, the only thing to do at the desert is leave. Just leave. So when he tells us where we ask the light, and here's in the little red signal goes on of denial, then we leave the desert by asking for a miracle. Just admit it. Oh, yes, I want this. You see how much energy is in that wanting to make a decision. Oh, want it. Wanting choice. Wanting sin. Want. So we need that Jesus to be the leak detector and tell us where it is, because it's like we can't see it. It's perfect gas, you can't see it. So you need a little detector to go in there and go, wah, and then listen when he says it. There it is. And ask for help. Please help me find all the gas leaks. Where am I leaking energy, denying divinity? We need that little gas detector, Jesus. Show me. So lesson 260, we're going to ask Jesus to show us again together and see the power of coming together to look deeply where the denials are. So precious. It becomes like each passing day precious for this joining. So starting with light, let me remember God created me. So let's ask the light for truth. We'll start with truth. In the light of divine being, did God create us? Does the light know anything other than creation by God? Like we almost need to wear a sign on our forehead to remind us, everybody in the center, created by God. So we go around, we need these kind of help to remember, or created by God. And then just ask Jesus, in the light of divine being and honesty of God, do I desire an experience in which I feel like God did not create me? Oh, yep. Okay. Let's ask Jesus if that's a good opportunity for a miracle in the light of divine being. If I do not feel like God created me, is that a good opportunity for a miracle? So let's ask, take that feeling. If God not creating us, just put it in the light. The only thing we can share here is infinite light. We just rest that in the light of divine being and ask for a miracle. I'd like a miracle in the perception that God didn't create me. And just watch, can it last in the light of infinite? And then we ask the one that knows, okay, is there anything else I need to see that you can show me around me not wanting to experience being created by God? If he says yes, then we just, again, I'm willing to see it. Show me another way to look at this. This is false perception. Ask the light, is this false perception? To have a feeling. See, it's just a feeling. It's a desired experience, not to experience myself as created by God. Just place that in the light. That's here, that this love, this great love that's here that we share. And ask for a change in perception. Now, sometimes it arises, and we've all talked about it. We really don't want to look at the desire not to feel created by God. See, I don't want to look at that. So we just admit that. Okay, Jesus, I really don't want to look at the feeling that I was created by God. I mean that I'm not created by God. The desire for the experience of not being created by God, that's the whole gig, is not wanting to see, though at least we admit it. See, that's honesty of God. So we look in there, okay, let's look again. This is a big one, right? Not wanting to be created by God. That's the whole play consciousness. That's why these thoughts of God are so powerful, because when we get one, that's the enchilada. So today we're going for the enchilada. We're not, this is the guilt-free zone for whatever's arising. No guilt, just looking. Muji calls it sober seeing. This is about a sober seeing. Looking for the desire for the experience that God did not create me, or fear or doubt about it. Is there any desire to create doubt in the mind that God created me? Just check in. Any kind of twitch, pinch, otherwise, any kind of asteroid debris around that. That's what this gets to be really lighthearted looking with Jesus. And then we just ask for a miracle if there's any asteroid belt stuff coming up. Is the ego, this is the last thing. That's why we start with the light. Do we have all power to look at these things with impunity? Is the light subject to any of the delusions that are floating around here? So do we have the power as infinite beings to directly look at this without fear? That's amen to divine power right there. We can look at anything without fear. Can we look at anything if we choose to without fear? See, fear is a choice. We can look at the desire for choice. That'll take it down to the bone, to the bones of death, looking at choice. how much that's wanted, that itch. Oh, I want that itch, Jesus. I can feel. It'll start showing it too. We just keep asking for mirrors, let it reveal, and you just, steam may come out of your ears. However that energy releases in consciousness, we just do a check and say, Jesus, is this holding or is this a release? See, he's going to be able to tell us when we're releasing the energies versus, oh, I want to hold on to it. Jesus is another, anything else we need to see. Let me remember God created me to fully just let that lesson sing in our heart. That lesson should sing, not should. It's not a should. It's just a natural experience of being created by God. See the happiness in this. So if there's any like tension left, ask again. I'm willing to see it where I'm denying that God created me. Just look directly at it. Is the light holding us, telling us we're wrong? You're in terms of being a bad, sinful being for denying God? No, it just says, come over here. Just see that you're light. See that it's a miscreation. Ask for a miracle. Peace. Father, I did not make myself, although in my insanity, I thought I did. It feels good. See, when we look directly at the insanity, it's when we don't look, it's going to hurt. Because the denial is the pain. See, that's where pain is. The denial of the power we have to miscreate a world. So we'll just look. Okay, I did not make myself. I thought I did. Jesus, do I think I make myself? If he says yes, okay, we can. I think I make myself, however it appears. Just let that energy of making ourselves rise into the light. Okay, you're right, Jesus. I want that experience of making myself apart. Okay, just admit it. Ask for a miracle. May I have a change in perception on making myself? Or, Jesus, I really don't want a miracle of making myself. I would prefer to make myself. That's honesty. See, I want to make myself a separate. And then see, and then as we drill down, we start to see, oh, I really like making myself separate. Oh, even though we see there's light, infinite light of being, and we've been talking, and a number of us been joining and just, everybody's kind of expressing, I really like making myself. I do. But see, that's seen now, right? We see that, I want to make it, I want to do it. Oh, give it to me. Give me this world of suffering. And we really look with Jesus at this insanity. Be perfect peace and not want perfect peace, but we do. So we just look. My insanity, I thought I said, so were we insane to make ourselves? See what the lights. Let's ask the light, is this something to laugh about? That's with a happy laughter. That's when Buddha laughed. He said, wait a minute, I'm trying to make myself, but there's no way to do it because it's too late. God made me first. You see? I thought I made that. I thought I could be something other than light. Is it possible? In the wildest imagination, let's get really wild with imagination, because certainly we have, through the miscreation of the entire world, can we make ourselves, even if we want to, and ask the light? Is there any way possible to make ourselves? It's like you start thinking, Jesus, what was I thinking? And he goes, exactly. Nothing. What were you thinking? Nothing. Nothing of any value whatsoever to divine being. Yet, as your thought, your with capital Y, I have not left my source. So let's ask, in the light of divine being, have we left the source? Can we leave the light? Can we leave source? Is the source the light? First of all, is light source? And here the answer. Now we have to be a divine being to know that the light source. See, it can't come. Does it come from outside of us that we know we're source? It's such a funny play. See, we start to, it starts funny. We're playing like that. Okay. I have not left my source. So we see that we cannot leave the light. Can we see that in the light of divine being? Wait, can I leave the light somehow? Is the light the source of all? The remaining part of who created me. The light create us? And hear the answer. Or are we light? Hear the answer. So we have to be with source and we have to be light. We can't be anything else. So it's a pretend. We're playing pretend world. But is the light holding that against us and go, you're going to be pretend, you're punished. You are going to have a timeout. The light is the lights. Oh, isn't that great? That's hilarious. We gave ourselves a time out. See, being in time for creating the world. The light's just going, I don't know what you're thinking. Does the light give timeouts? How can eternity give timeouts? We give ourselves a timeout. We're creating a world and the light's just going, it's just light. All there is light. Okay. Your son, my father, calls to you today. Do we call to the Father today in here? Does the light call the light? See, the light only calls for remembrance and celebration of light. That's all it does, celebrate infinite. The ego goes, boy, that sounds really boring. That sameness, that infinite light of sameness, happiness, supreme happiness. Because when we first look at the light, okay, it's light, that's interesting, because we're so used to the play. And like Mooji says, you don't know what you found when you see that there's only light here, because we don't want it. We don't want to know what we found. We don't want to know that everything's light. We need Jesus to tell us, you don't want everything. Let's ask him. Jesus, do I want everything to be light myself? No. If he answers no, he say, Jesus, I need a miracle because I really don't want to be light at all. Yes, miracle. I don't want to be what I already am. Let me remember you created me. Jesus, will you help us remember that that God created us? See, the light will only answer yes. Of course it will. We're the ones that don't want it to help us. So you can play the I'm not created by God game. So we're looking at all the I'm not created by God games. See, played in consciousness. I'm not light. All the reasons I'm not light. See that the light doesn't have any reasons not to be the light. It just is the light. Let me remember you created me. Let me remember my identity. Ask the light, will you help me remember that my identity is light? And will you show me where I'm choosing not to remember that I'm light? We can ask that too. We choose, show me where I'm remembering. See, memory, it takes memory to try to obliterate light. So he's reusing memory. He's flipping it. Everything that appears in consciousness, Jesus will flip it to use it for the purposes, which is remember, because in truth and honesty of God, do we need to remember light as light beings? Does the light need to remember itself, or it just is? But because memory, remember the Son of God, remembered not to laugh, because memory, the miscreation of memory, the fantasy to not see the light. So Jesus flips that and is going to use memory, the choice to remember, to cease to forget. See, we're the choice to choose to forget. He's flipping it. To use the power of consciousness to recognize itself in wholeness. That it's whole and complete. And that it can't be fragmented. It can only play like it's fragmented, but even if it plays, again, in every fragment is light. We can ask light, does every fragment in consciousness contain light? See, it has to. No fragment can leave the whole, even if it pretends it's a fragment on the holodeck. And let my sinlessness rise again before Christ's vision. Jesus, is there any desire not to let sinlessness arise before Christ's vision? If there is, we just ask for a miracle. Through which I would look upon my brothers and myself today. Is there any desire not to look upon my brothers and myself as sinless? See that itch for sin? That's where it's at. The itch, that addiction to experiencing sin. Ego wants it. And see how sin just a thought to deny light? Without being able to deny light, we desire an experience of denying light. That recognition will wipe the board clean. Living miracles, they call it tabula rasa. That will erase the entire board. See, game over for ego. No more pinging off of denial. See, no more not looking. This is so direct. Supreme happiness. And let my sinlessness arise. Let this prayer be the only prayer rise before Christ's vision, through which I look upon my brothers and myself today. Sinlessly. My brothers being the gift to myself of where I believe I have sinned. So as I see them in holiness, then so I see myself. They help me see the miscreation. Where I'm denying that I'm innocent. We can ask the light, is that the gift to myself? My brothers are my gift to myself. To help me see what I have denied. Am I willing to see what I denied because it's true? I'm light. Infinite, unchanging light. Now is our source remembered. The light. And therein we find our true identity at last. Is our identity light? Does the light say no? Who's saying no to the light? Who is that? Does that which says no to light, does that exist? Can we find the one who's saying no to light? We're going to hunt for that one. That play. Is there an object that says no, or is it just an idea appearing in light that we staple to ourselves. Say, I believe that. Yep, that's me. And then we take another thought and staple that on and carry it around. I was laughing last night. We like catching darts. We want to catch those darts. They go thoughts go flying, and we want to catch them with our hands. You know, here, hit me here. Catch the dart. That's the game of consciousness, is catch the dart, and it's going to hurt. It's just catching darts. Does the light catch any darts? See, the light doesn't, you know, this is such a famous expression. You're pushing my buttons. Does the light have a single button on it? Let's check in. Like, there's no buttons. So buttons are an idea in consciousness. See, that someone can push my buttons. It's like a clue. You know, that little gas detector would scream on that. A red light all the way to the top on push my buttons. That's where we're just using that little gas detector, that little ego detector inside ourselves, not for anyone else. We can't go. See, this the ego does. It sets up that gas detector, and then it goes around sniffing everybody else. Just say, there's an ego over there. It doesn't exist. That's the ego taking out the gas. The only way we can look for the gas detector is here. And see where we believe there's an ego. See, if we're saying his ego is big over there, his ego, see the other has an ego, and then we're admitting that the ego exists, and we're making it real for ourselves. Now that is hilarious. It's making the ego real. Is that real? No. Does the light go around talking about, hey, you have an ego? All the light does is point to where we deny divinity. It points to light, and here's the denial of light. But it doesn't make it real. See if does the light make denials of divinity real? Light doesn't make denials. It doesn't make anything real other than what it, I mean, it's just real. It's reality. Is the light reality? The only true reality, infinite light. Now is our source remembered, and therein we find our true identity at last. Let there be light. Holy indeed are we, because our source can know no sin. And so we look again to see, does the source know sin? Can we find that in infinite light, sin anywhere in there? Is it pure and holy and complete infinite light? But what we like to do with light is put it over there. Okay, here's a place I visited today. Here's the light over here. And then the ego's all the reasons why we're not this. So let's look at, in the light of divine being, the desire to know sin. Is there a desire to know sin? What sin is? An experience of sin below our level of awareness. And if there is, again, we just ask, I need a miracle on that. If it says yes. And we go until it's unknown. Till Jesus says there's no, we ask him again until there's just no desire for it. No, don't even know what it is. You can see it's a concept, actually. It's like, you know, the light doesn't know what it is. So the light's always the contrast. Does light know this? No, must not be real. Need a miracle. Holy and dim are thee, because our source can know no sin. And we who are his sons are like each other and alike to him, in that we know not sin. So we let him take us all the way down below our level of awareness to see what's untrue is untrue, and the light's never changed. Divine being unchanged by this world. This is the holiness we have together to share, to see the only thing that can be shared is light. This is perfect happiness, perfect peace. Amen. Thank you, love. And we welcome Christy and wish her, know that she'll be carried by angels on her way to San Juan Cosala tomorrow. And we all send everyone here, I know, sends their hugs too, to come and serve the Lord in devotional service. We love you all. You're all in devotional service every time you come and join this circle. Our deepest gratitude for that. Love from San Juan Cosala.